Well, hello, our fellow friends, our fellow neighbors, and our fellow shining stars. Our next trolley stop is here, and our next trolley stop is now. Welcome back to another all-new episode of PR from the Heart's Children's Book Spotlight series as we close out our 2-month, 5-year anniversary celebration of this wonderful program. You have reached episode number 188. That is the 188th trolley stop here at PR from the Heart and the Children's Book Spotlight series. My name is John Massalonis, the manager here at PR from the Heart, the host of the Children's Book Spotlight series. If you hear some chomping on a chewy, little Forrest is in the background. He's making his spirit and his heart filled with his love and filled with his presence. This is going to be a little bit of a resonating theme because, a little spoiler alert, we're going to be talking about pets during the course of episode number 188 of the Children's Book Spotlight series. We've been truly blessed and fortunate over the past 5 years to interview some of the top award-winning and best-selling children's authors in the world of children's literature, in what we affectionately refer to as the kidlit community. And we've also been privileged to be able to support some of the shining stars, those who are truly on the rise in the world of children's literature. And having the opportunity to do publicity work for 10 years, along my path, there's some amazing people that come across my way. And we have the opportunity to be able to share their messages with children and parents and families and educators. And as we like to say, those who love great children's books. And it's interesting. I can admit, and I may temporarily insult the cat lovers out there. So just kind of giving that a little bit of a disclaimer first. I wasn't a big cat person, really, for my whole entire life. Not necessarily because I didn't like cats, but because I was more of a dog person. And it's interesting, over the course of the past several years, my heart has truly opened up to the unconditional love that are cats. Cats are truly a wonderful blessing, and they bring so much love and joy into our lives. But there's one cat in particular we're going to be talking about on episode number 188 of the Children's Book Spotlight series, who truly has a heart of gold in many respects, even though she really resonates with the color blue more so than gold. And whenever we have the opportunities to be able to share messages in the form of children's books that are really geared towards pets, it really is such a good feeling, as we like to quote every now and again our favorite neighbor, Mr. Rogers. And today, this week, as we close out our 5-year anniversary celebration of the Children's Book Spotlight series, there is a new empowering read that is out there for kids to be able to connect with, to really help them connect to their own heart and the heart of their furry friends in the process, especially for all the little kids who are cat lovers out there. So we encourage all of you, our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, and of course, as we like to say, our fellow shining stars, we are going to be sharing the new release from Devon Michael Sangiovanni, his brand new release, He Loves Me, He Truly Loves Me, the story of Mupsy and me and how we came to be. It is now available. You can head on over to Devon's official website, which we have included in the description below to make things easier in the process. The trolley racked up a good amount of mileage during the course of the 5-year anniversary celebration of the Children's Book Spotlight series. And Lord knows we've really racked up a lot of mileage over the past 5 years. The trolley heads on over across the country from San Diego to the Garden State of New Jersey. And joining us is one of PR from the Heart's newest children's authors. He is the creator of the Mupsy series and the author of He Loves Me, He Truly Loves Me, the story of Mupsy and me, and how we came to be, courtesy of our friends and neighbors at Balboa Press. Devon Michael Sangiovanni joining us on the program. Devon, really appreciate the free time, and thanks for joining us here in our neighborhood today and this week.
Thank you, John. I would love to be in California right now, but I love New Jersey. Mm-hmm.
Well, this is something that I'm really glad that we're able to share on so many levels. But before we begin, we, of course, encourage all of you, our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, and our fellow shining stars, especially with the holiday season on the horizon. It's really important for us to bring more love into our lives. And so if these messages that we're already sharing and communicating, if you're feeling the heart and the spirit of Mupsy, If you feel that someone could benefit from this, if you feel that this message, that the heart, the spirit of Mupsy can be shared with someone in need, someone that maybe is going through a little bit of a difficult time, a struggle, or simply just needs a little bit of an energetic boost, we encourage all of you to subscribe to PR from the Heart's official YouTube channel and to share this very special trolley stop that you are now enjoying, which is, again, episode number 188 of the Children's Book Spotlight series. And again, special thanks to the 7,000 now. It's hard to believe, but the 7,000 subscribers through PR from the Heart's official YouTube channel. Thank you for making us a part of your day, your week, your month, and especially for us to be able to share these messages, such as Devon, such as Mupsy, with all the little ones that are in your lives. We never lose sight of that in any way, shape, or form. Devon, as I mentioned when we were sharing in the PR from the Heart green room, I'm very big on learning about origin stories, and it always begins at some point in time with us. You know, sometimes when someone knows that they're meant to do something, it's kind of like you come out of the womb and it's like instantaneous. I know exactly what I'm going to do from the earliest remembrance that you have. For some people, it can be a little bit more of a journey. Maybe you have a series of experiences that happens along your life where it's like, okay, I'm meant to do this. Could you, for those who are learning about your work for the first time, could you share with us really where this all began for you in terms of your connection to children, wanting to be able to better their lives, bring more love into their minds, their hearts, their souls? When did all of this first begin for you?
You know, that's an interesting question. And it's a great question because it brings me all the way back to the first grade. I'll never forget when I walked in that first grade room door, I knew right then and there that I wanted to be a teacher. I went straight through grammar school, straight through high school, one direction, straight through college prep, became a teacher. So I always loved teaching. I always did preschools and, the day camps and the boys clubs and the girls clubs and the gym. I was an athlete. So I just loved teaching because something about my mind, there's a way that I can break things down to make them easier for children. Because I like to study all the deep studies, all the esoteric stuff, like where do we come from and why do we come here? And yet I know how to bring it down to the children. So I wanted to be a teacher. And then years ago, I was a born lyricist. So same thing, like you said, you came out of the womb and the kids asked me, like, when did you know that you wanted to be a writer? Or how did you decide you wanted to be a writer? And I said, I didn't decide that. That was just my God-given gift. That was what came through. So I was definitely a lyricist. Like I could write rhyme, I could write creative. In college, I remember we had to do our first, freshman year. We had to do our prep paper for everybody had freshman comp, and we all had to write our story. And I, wrote mine, went in the next day back then, denim jacket, slouched in the chair with the hoodie. And the professor read the third best one in the entire university and then the second best one. And then he read the first. So guess whose was the first? It was mine. So I'm a born writer. I went to school, I took good classes, but that wasn't what I went to school. I went to school for athletics, for sports. But I am definitely a writer. So anyway, it was interesting that you said about the dogs, that you are a dog person. And when you said where the origin come from Mupsy, that's another funny story because I bought my mom a little Maltese, one of those little white fluffy things. And I'll tell you something, she was the love of my life. She was so cute. She was only 4 pounds. And that was as big as she got. And she would follow my mom everywhere she went. And she was my little girl too. So when it was interesting because I was never really a cat person. My best friend when I was little, she was a cat person. And I always remember her cats having kittens and we'd have kittens all over, but I didn't have this affinity for kittens. I loved them. They were so cute. We always had fun. But when it came down to it, years and years later, a friend of mine, she had 5 Himalayan cats. And I went to her house one night and they made a semicircle around me. And they were so calm, John. They were just calm. They just went like this and this. And I said, I need this. Like, I need this energy in my life, because I was always running, like from work to rehearsals, to practice, to study. I studied with the piano prodigy for 10 years. So my life was just going and going and going. There was no quiet time whatsoever. And when I saw these cats, because I would lay on the floor and shake the pounce, and they would all come running over. I'd be feeding them pounce, and then I'd go to tape one just to hold it, and phew, all 5 of them would go in 5 different directions. So I just said, I need to have one of these of my own. So that's how it happened. But
it's a beautiful organic tapestry, because when and we're going to be talking about your actual book, and we're going to talk about Mupsy more momentarily. But I know when I was first introduced to you through our dear friend Erin Saxton, who was one of Barbara Walters' right-hand women behind the scenes at ABC, and she did extensive work with the Today Show and Good Morning America and Rosie O'Donnell and Jack Canfield. This is our pre-holiday season salute to Erin Saxton, by the way, here as we close out the 5-year anniversary celebration of the Children's Book Spotlight series. The fact that everything just seemed to flow with this. Now, with this being shared, let's be transparent. When we have our journey, there are challenges, there are difficulties, there are obstacles, there are problems, there are stressors, there are troubles, there are worries. I've even alphabetized them, Devon. If you notice, literally from A to Z, there's stuff that comes across our path. And there's times where it's like we can be a little judgmental, or we can be very hard on ourselves. We can say, I want to be further along than where I am. Or why is this coming up? Because I've got this, and this to do. Could you share with us some of the specific challenges and difficulties that you encountered along your path to bringing Mupsy and this beautiful book to life? And then what were some of the specific things that you feel that helped you to get through to the other side of those?
Well, I guess you could say it started when I was little, because I personally had the best dad in the world, and he loved me. He truly loved me. And then the sad thing was, he died when I was 11, like out of the clear blue. So it wasn't like there was any warning, or he was sick, or we had a great family, Until this day, I still have a great family, but that was a big loss because I was only 11. So I kind of, it was a rough age. It was a rough spot. But my mother loved me, my sister, I had a sister, a brother, like my mother kept the family together. So through that, I went to school, I played baseball, I went to college, I finished everything. But, it was always that little bump that I always had to get over, because I didn't have, I didn't have people just, I was lucky because everybody would buy me presents, because they felt bad for me though. But that wasn't it. It wasn't, I found out a long, long time ago, presents and money, that doesn't mean anything. It's the love. If I could have had anything in the world, I would have had him back. I could have cared less about all the presents and the toys that people got me. So, other than that, I guess it made me who I am. And now, I have a special place in my heart for children. Because it's hard to be a child, and you need a parent. You need a parent. You need a good parent. Somebody who loves you. And that's where the preface came in. To all parents. In the presence of love, all children can grow and prosper. But it's our responsibility as parents to provide them with that love.
Mm-hmm.
So I was blessed because no matter, it's when I was little that I had all that love, and that never goes away. And that's when the children need it. And nowadays with 2 parents working, it's rough. It's rough for them to be around all the time and give them all the love and everything they need. So, I give parents a lot of credit, and due to the way that the world is today, we're not at liberty to hug all the kids. So that's where animals and pets and parenting comes in. They need that unconditional love. And definitely Mupsy healed me. Mupsy came to the rescue and healed me from the pain of my father.
And first off, I want to extend my condolences to you and to your family on the loss of your father, because it's interesting. Grief is something that it can give that silent knock at the door and you don't necessarily know when it comes and when it arrives. And, over the course of the past 10 years, and this is why I feel that we're kindred spirits in many ways, because little Forrest came into my life, as you know, last November. It's been actually nearly almost a year to the day from when we're premiering this episode. And even though it was 9 years after my grandmother passed, I was still grieving her loss. And in certain respects, we always grieve the loss. It's just a matter about, being more with our emotions and feelings, allowing, there's, from my learning about grief is kind of like when we experience grief, we're in this waiting room. And then you have like the before the loss, and then you have the life after loss. And it's just like, you're so knowing this, and then you're here, and it's like, what the heck? What if I go into here? Will I be okay? Will I be, will I thrive? Will I be loved? Will everything be taken care of? And it takes that courage, and it takes that love. And this is why Mupsy and Little Forrest and all animals, even if you're a parakeet lover or if you're a turtle lover, there's something about pets. And before we dive into the pages of your brand new children's book, which once again, He Loves Me, He Truly Loves Me, the story of Mupsy and me and how we came to be, could you share with us, just from your own personal experience and your own research in terms of putting this book together, what is it really about pets? What comes to mind is the fact that, like, it's a feeling. Sometimes you don't need words, right? And sometimes we just want to try to, come up with a way to comprehend and articulate the feelings in our heart. But sometimes the words aren't necessarily necessary. But if you could with that being shared, if you could encapsulate the feeling, what is it about pets and specifically about cats that you feel that really just helps us they pick us up when we're down? They are the yin to our yang. They are the alpha to the omega, whatever other comparisons that you want to make. Could you share with us a little bit more about your thoughts on that?
That's so interesting, because you did ask me that question before, like, what is it? And the minute that you say it, I get a big smile on my face, because there's no words that can explain that feeling that comes up. You know what I mean? They, you have them in your arms and they're purring and purring. And I don't know, a friend of mine, she called it a joy bubble. I call it snuggle, because the interesting thing about him was, I used to take 5 showers a day. I'd get up, I'd take a shower. I'd leave for work, I'd take a shower. I'd come home from work, I'd take another shower. I always took showers, but he only used to come in the bathroom in the morning, the first shower. And I would get down on that bathroom rug, and we would hug and snuggle and purr. And purr. It was like filling up a gas tank. That's the feeling. Like, there are no words for that feeling. It's just love. It's pure, unconditional. I smile. I just smile every time. Like, I just, in my arms, hugging me. Smart. The purring. I think it's that purring too. That really gets you, And I see some cat videos, and they just drive me crazy. Like, you'll see the cat look at the owner and just go like this, and put their nose against their nose. You're like, oh my God, that's the feeling, right? There's no words. You don't need words to describe what they do, because I don't think there are words that describe it.
I agree. And I'm really glad that you mentioned about the smile, because oftentimes a smile can articulate more of how we're feeling in our mind, body, and soul than if we're just looking for those earthly words that can help us to communicate how we feel. Sometimes words aren't necessary, but when they are, we definitely make them count. Again, we hope that you are enjoying the close. I know we have a little sadness that we're concluding the 5-year anniversary celebration of the Children's Book Spotlight series, but as we like to say, and we'll talk about this more later, there's many more magical trolley stops to come. But for now, we are fully enjoying episode number 188 of PR from the Heart's Children's Book Spotlight series. We are now ready to dive into the pages of Devon Michael Sangiovanni's brand new children's book, once again, courtesy of our friends and neighbors at Balboa Press. He Loves Me, He Truly Loves Me, the story of Mupsy and me and how we came to be. We encourage all of you, our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, and of course, our fellow shining stars, to head on over to Mupsy.com, which we've included in the description below, and to also head on over to Amazon.com as well. One of the many ways you can pledge your support for Devon is to leave a 5-star review if you feel guided to do so after enjoying and getting your copy of He Loves Me, He Truly Loves Me, the story of Mupsy and me and how he came to be. Again, one of the many ways you can pledge your support for Devon, for Mupsy, to let them know that they're doing wonderful and much needed work for children, parents, families, educators, those who love great children's books, and all cat aficionados across the country and around the world. We obviously don't like to give away the whole kit and caboodle, as we like to say here on the Children's Book Spotlight series, but this story, I have to share this, from the little blue paw prints that are on a good majority of the pages. It's like, again, when you think of a paw print, you oftentimes, it's like brown or black, but just like the shade of blue that you utilized. And that was something, again, that just really connected and really hit home with me. And it's this touching tale of a cat named Mupsy, but in many respects, there's a lot of humanistic qualities, right? At the core, the fundamental need that we all desire, that we're all worthy of, is love. And there's times when we're, feeling a little down and we're waiting, for grandma to call, or we're waiting for our brother to call, or our fiance, or whomever the person in your life is. And then when that person comes in and they call us or they knock at our door, and we just have this amazing, it's just like, it's that energetic exchange that happens in the process. Could you share with us a little bit, without giving away the whole kit and caboodle, about Mupsy and the journey that Mupsy is on, and really how he learns to trust himself? Because that's a big thing. We'll talk about that momentarily. But ultimately, the fact it really has a super sweet and adorable ending at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because being that the Maltese, Sunshine, she was a girl. So I wanted a girl kitten. And my friend had all those. And Himalayans, he's a seal point Himalayan. I wanted that particular coloring. And Himalayans come in different colors. They have different color points. So I wanted the taupe, with the brown mask and the big blue eyes. And I wanted a female. So I called all over the country, John, trying to find a female seal point, and could not. I called for a year, could not find a female seal point. Finally, one day I called, and it was right up here in New York State, and the gentleman said, I have females. I said, I'm coming tomorrow. He called me up in the morning. He said, they're males. I said, I'm coming anyway. And that was how it happened. I drove up there, and sure enough, in the book, you're going to see it, because he handed me those little girl kittens, but they were torties, which are brown and a splash, black, brown, orange, white, cute. And I did have them in my arms, but you know what? I didn't feel it. I didn't. They were cute, they were furry, they were fuzzy, but there was no connection. And if I tell you, when I turned around and I saw him, that was it. I was like, there he is, that's him. And I knew right from the start. And in the beginning of the book, the funny thing was, every day when he heard the phone ring, he heard John say the very same thing. Yes, we have little girl kittens. What time will you be here? Okay, see you then. And one by one, the people would come and pick up the little girl kittens, and he would be left behind, sad, so sad. But doesn't anybody want a boy kitten? He would sob. He began to think that no one would ever love him, and he waited, and he waited, and he waited, and he waited. So poor Mups was waiting because I want to say he was 16 weeks old when I picked him up, and all the other ones were getting picked up at 8 weeks. So for a little baby, that's a long time to wait. But oh my goodness, John, was I blessed.
I'm so, when someone has the opportunity to incorporate part of their real life experience into what it is that they're communicating and sharing, especially with kids, the story, even though it's so simple, it's multifaceted at the same point in time. So for example, as you said, if someone learns a little bit about your backstory, the fact that you were a children's songwriter who studied with a piano prodigy, and that you ended up losing your father at the age of 11. There's children out there that are aspiring musicians, and there are children that have lost their mom or their dad or their grandma or their grandpa. And to know the fact, like, how does that make you feel, knowing the fact that not only Mupsy, but that you and just everything all encompassed, intertwined, how when there's people on their path, especially kids, when they're going through challenges, or if anything, they just need that spark, because all kids have that divine inspiration. How does it make you feel knowing the fact that this book and your story and Mupsy is really making a heartfelt difference? Not just that, I mean, yes, it's great, you know, when a little one gets a children's book and it's, thanks, Mom, great book. But really on that visceral kind of soul level, what does that mean to you?
You know, John, if I could take every kid and hug them and give them a big hug and a big squeeze, that I love kids. They're adorable and they have so much potential. And yet so much depends on us in parenting. You know, these kids need to know they're loved. They need to know they're lovable, and they need to know they deserve. Every child deserves a chance. You know, for me, I was blessed because, you know, I got a scholarship. I got a 4-year ride, you know, fully paid. Always, if there were people, like I was smart. You know, I did apply myself. I will say that. I was so smart, though, I didn't have to kill myself studying, but I always made sure I was a straight A student, you know, and I came across the piano prodigy. Actually found me, you know, like she saw me one day and she approached me because I would talk about my music. But, you know, even though I had to work, and trust me, I used to go to school from 9 till 3. I'd go to baseball practice from 3 till 6, and then I'd go to work from 6 until 10. And then on Saturday, I would work from 9 till 5. So Sunday was basically my only day off. But you know what? I knew what I wanted to do. I was very responsible. So it's a combination, you know, but I did have a solid home life too. You know, my mother was there. My mother cooked breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know, she walked me to school. I remember back in those days. But back in those days, you could walk your kid to school, you know, because the husband was working and the mother was home. Nowadays, it's hard. You know, it's hard for parents. But listen, that attention, that love, they need that love. And if I can bring a little bit of that love, or Mupsy, because you know there's going to be a Mupsy doll, stuffy, I don't know, stuffed animal, whatever you want to call it, he's coming. You know, right now we made some watches with Mupsy, and you know, like it's time to read. Oh, it's time to pray. Oh, it's time to snuggle. You know, there's special times. Like I had my special time with Mupsy to snuggle. And if I could do anything and make one kid happy, you know, and take them from where they are to where they belong in the mind, because that's where it is. Because you know what the key word is in the end, right? It's in italics. Believe. You know, this time it was different. He believed that the man who was gentle and kind would call for a little girl kitten, but when he came, he would change his mind.
And I'm really glad that you touched upon that as well, too, because, and I believe it was the beloved spiritual teacher, Dr. Wayne Dyer. He mentioned this in a couple of his, especially one of his PBS specials. And it's kind of like if you envision God coming in, or, you know, whomever it is that you believe in, bringing a child into the world. And it's like dropping it in the arms of mom and dad, or whoever's raising the little one. And the child comes in as perfect, whole, healthy, complete, divine, precious. And Dr. Wayne Dyer would joke around and say, like mom and dad would say, we'll take it from here. And so like that is when kids are conditioned. That's when kids are conditioned to guilt, judgment, shame, blame, unworthiness, unlovability, you name it. So it's like we come in as these divine beings, and just through life and through experience, we can become jaded and hurt and cynical and bitter. And it just really involves that faith and trust. And this is one of the things, especially again, we're embarking on the holiday season. Really, that's ultimately like one of the biggest times when we can connect within ourselves to our faith. But why is it important? I mean, especially kids just over the past 5 years since we've been doing the Children's Book Spotlight series. We had a pandemic. There was everything associated with Black Lives Matter, everything associated with Donald Trump. We have what's happening overseas in Israel and Gaza. There's always something that's been happening on in kids. Different generations of kids over these past 5 years have been seeing this. And they could easily say, mom, dad, sister, brother, grandma, grandpa. Being Polish, we would always call them babcia and jaja, by the way. Grandma, grandpa, babcia and jaja. But why is it important that we as parents and caregivers and custodians of our little ones, why is it important now more than ever before that we can do our part to encourage our kids to believe in themselves, to trust in themselves, not even just to believe in life and to trust in life, but to start with themselves? Why is that now important, do you feel, more than ever before?
John, that is so important, and if this book can get out there, because in the middle of this book, there's faith, in the book, Mupsy, he prays, he prays because he was in despair. And I think we need to go back to that because every religion prays, and I feel like we need to ground them. There's so many things coming at them. I mean, just like every single thing you named. I mean, these kids are 5, 6, 7, 8. We grew up in a different world. It was safe, right? From what I can remember. And now I think they need faith more than anything else, and to bring them back, and whatever religion they have, whoever they, worship, or it's just the most solid in my lifetime. Like I've just seen so many miracles, that I can't even, begin to say it. But if this book can get us back and build the children, with faith and hope and love and charity and belief, it's like we shouldn't be killing each other. We should be feeding each other. We should be helping each other. Like that's what I want to bring to the attention of children. Charity. It's not all about your 20 new toys. Okay, you could have 18, but what about the other 2? Can you give them to someone else? It's giving, making them aware that everything isn't a video game and everything isn't an ATM machine and everything. You have to go back to home values,
Agreed. And this is why, again, where it's really important that not only we're talking about this, but we're obviously that you're sharing this through the pages of your brand new children's book, which once again, we're beginning to wind down our time with our featured guest on the Children's Book Spotlight series, children's author Devon Michael Sangiovanni. The trolley's enjoying itself right now out in New Jersey, the beautiful Garden State. He loves me. He truly loves me. The story of Mupsy and me and how we came to be, courtesy of our friends and neighbors at Balboa Press, now available. You can head on over to mupsy.com. We've included that link in the description below. And you can also head on over to amazon.com if that's your preferred online vehicle of your choosing. When you have the opportunities to purchase and enjoy your copy of Mupsy, feel free to leave a 5-star review. One of the many ways that you can pledge your support for Devon and for Mupsy, to let them know that they're doing wonderful and much needed work for children, parents, families, educators, and those who love great children's books, is to indeed leave a 5-star review in the process. And one of the other ways you can pledge your support for Devon is to pass along this message, to always make that kind recommendation, whether it be to your favorite children's or independent bookstore, whether it be to your favorite local library, and just say, you know what? I met Devon, I met John on the Children's Book Spotlight series, albeit from afar, and I feel that your store, your library needs to be able to stock Mupsy, because definitely that library, that bookstore will definitely have the heart expand within, needless to say. One of the things that I also wanted to talk about as we wind down our time, Devon, is the fact that, prayer is important. And obviously, again, there are Christian children's authors that are out there, but I feel that even when you refer to a children's author as a Christian author, it's kind of like you're placing a label on them. And I remember, of all movies, I believe it was the beloved classic Wayne's World with Mike Myers and Dana Carvey. And they quoted Kierkegaard, or Kierkegaard, that says, once you label me, you negate me. I remember that movie from when I was a kid. But the importance of prayer and teaching our kids to pray. I mean, there's been scientific studies that have been done, even if you just take the time, even if you're we're not trying to sway people to a different faith or join a certain religion or anything like that, but just taking the time, if anything, to connect to yourself, because you are connecting to your higher power, whomever that may be, God, Krishna. Some people, I always used to crack the joke, some people worship at the altar of, well, let's see, I'll use a New York Jets reference. The legendary New York Jets player, oh gosh, like former wide receiver Al Toon is coming to mind. He played a long career, I believe, with the New York Jets. But could you really expand upon the importance of prayer? I mean, we talked about faith and why that's important, but really taking the time for us in the midst of the busyness, in the midst of the perceived chaos. Why is that a go-to thing, do you feel now, for ourselves and also for our kids?
Oh, that's really interesting, because Mupsy taught me to go into the silence. In the morning, he would wake me up. And the lucky thing was, I didn't work in the afternoon. I used to work at night. And he would get into bed in the morning, and that quiet. We always had the silence. Because I don't necessarily, I don't necessarily think that praying is asking for things. For me, praying was listening. What is my inner soul? What am I hearing? What is my guidance that's telling me where to go? And this is a non-denominational book, like we just mentioned, because, he got sadder and sadder and mopier and mopier. He didn't come out of his cup of play. So the next logical line, what did he have to do? He had no choice. He had no hope. And to me, that's what Mupsy taught me. Like, if you ask me what Mupsy gave me, he gave me the ability to stay still and listen and be quiet, which is important. It's so funny, because I made Mupsy watches. And I made, all the different scenes, and they're adorable and the kids love them. But, to me, there's the tagline for the literary community. It's time to read, and then it's time to pray, and it's time to snuggle, because all these things are so important. But we're so busy running and running and running and running. Really, that was how I ended up getting Mupsy, because I was running so much. And he was the one that quieted me down. And then he was the one that allowed me to get in touch with my spirit, So I think that's definitely why children, and maybe we could visit the animal shelters, because there's a cat or a dog there that needs love, and there's a child and a family that needs love. It's a mutual exchange. So bringing awareness to all these things, I mean, it breaks my heart to see any child suffering, or, in the children's hospitals or the animal shelters, and they're, oh my God, it breaks my heart. If it was up to me, John, I just heard them all, and let's go. We'd have one big happy family, which I pray, if this book makes it around the world, John, please, not even for me, for the kids, for the world, it has to change, because we're heading in the wrong direction. So this is hope.
On that thread, Devon, we've communicated, we've shared a lot. Here in episode number 188 of the Children's Book Spotlight series, if there's one specific thing, and I think this is probably the most appropriate question to ask, is for all of those people that are out there, we call them our listeners and viewers, we call them our fellow friends and neighbors, we also, of course, call them our fellow shining stars as well, too. For those people, especially as we lead into the holiday season, that are feeling unloved, not cared for, that no one in the world gives a rat's patoot about, whatever that particular person's name is. For those who are struggling, what would be your words of comfort, your words of support that you would like to be able to share? Because it's interesting. One of the things is that I really believe that life is something that you can enjoy. And many people, you hear the expression, I just want to get through the day. Like to just get through. And if you get through something, you can't enjoy it. Mm-hmm. So what would be some of those words of comfort and support that you would like to share to those who are moving through a challenging or difficult time, or who are feeling unloved as we embark on the holiday season?
It's so funny, because I was a coach for a long, long time. I coached a lot of people, and they would call me, and ask, they would present me with this big problem. And I'd be like, but why are you asking me? You know what I mean? I'm only human. You know what I mean? You have to ask a power greater than ourselves, John. It doesn't have to be God. It could be Chris. It could be forever. You have to find that faith, you know, and find a community of people. You know, I spent a long time with a community of people that their faith was so strong that I saw so many miracles, you know, and there were lonely people. But the obligation of ours was to help them. You know, that was our job, was to help and not expect anything in return. I do believe that's called a humble servant. You know, it's just, this is charity. This is love. You know, to me, it's God. Just help somebody else. Step out of your own comfort zone, you know, and get into the silence and see where you're guided to go. And, you know, you have to get out of yourself. Really, that's really, I always felt better when I was helping somebody else, because otherwise I'm stuck with my own thoughts. And God knows where we're going with that. You know, no matter how happy we are, there's those voices that go and go and go. We don't even have to be crazy, but we're pretty close, you know, when those negative things come up. And they could drive us off the deep end. You know, poor kids are committing suicide. It's like the things that I see happen on a day-to-day basis. I wish I could help everybody. I don't think I can. I think Mupsy can. I honestly believe Mupsy's like, you know, some serious hope.
Well, you're definitely doing your part, Devon. That's really all what we can do at the end of the day. And the great thing is that there's more of Mupsy to come. In fact, we actually have an exclusive announcement here as we conclude episode number 188 of the Children's Book Spotlight series, because, well, we haven't heard the trolley yet, but the trolley's approaching very shortly. And so for those who are tuning in during the premiere week of episode number 188 of the Children's Book Spotlight series, we are super excited because on Thursday, November the 9th, thanks to our friends and neighbors at Kidlit TV,
yes,
you will have the opportunities to enjoy Devon Michael Sangiovanni, who, of course, is still joining us here on the line, and he will be sharing the beautiful, heartfelt tale. Get it? Because cats have tails. It's T-A-L-E and T-A-I-L. Really, the perfect story. He loves me. He truly loves me. The story of Mupsy and me and how we came to be. That will be available, again, courtesy of our friends and neighbors at Kidlit TV, so you can stay connected with our friends and neighbors at Kidlit TV. We'll be sharing everything through PR from the Heart's official social media platforms as well, too. And there is many, many, many more, because we haven't seen the last of Mupsy. I know that, you know, Devon, as we've already communicated, there are other books that are waiting in the wings. So again, we encourage you to stay connected to Devon's official website, mupsy.com. You can also, again, head on over to amazon.com and purchase your copy of He Loves Me, He Truly Loves Me, the story of Mupsy and me and how we came to be. And of course, with the holiday season just around the corner, whether it be, you know, the kids are putting out the slippers, right? You know, you get those, you know, little gifts from, you know, Saint Nick, right? Or if you're saying, you know what, I really want Santa to come down the chimney with the perfect gift. Or if you're looking for a perfect Hanukkah gift or a Kwanzaa gift, or just, you know, you don't need a holiday to tell someone how you care about them, right? So this is the perfect time if you're going to enjoy Mupsy, connect with that holiday magic, that holiday spirit, and Mupsy will be able to help you to connect with yourself even more in the process. So again, you can head on over to mupsy.com. You can head on over to amazon.com. One of the many ways you can also pledge your support again for Devon and Mupsy is to leave a 5-star review if you feel guided to do so, to again let Devon and Mupsy know that they're doing wonderful and amazing work for children, parents, families, educators, and for those who love great children's books, and for all those cat aficionados out there. And as we hear the trolley, that means that it is time to go. But again, there are many more magical trolley stops to come, because you know what happens when we shift from the anniversary celebration of the Children's Book Spotlight series. We turn the page to the holiday season celebration here at PR from the Heart. So in addition to our collaboration beginning at the start of the holiday season with Kidlit TV, we are super excited as well, too, because for all of our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, and our fellow shining stars in San Diego, we are super excited. The biggest holiday celebration in the 9+ year history of PR from the Heart for the holiday season, Seasons Readings, is heading to Barnes & Noble Encinitas Town Center on Saturday, November the 18th I'm very blessed to be able to moderate this panel of gifted and amazing authors, truly some of the top award-winning and best-selling children's authors in the world of children's literature, and of course, along with some of the shining stars in the kid lit community. Georgianne Irvine, the director of publishing for the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance, the award-winning creator of the Zoo's Hope and Inspiration series, she's going to be a part of the panel. Shannon Anderson, national speaker and award-winning children's author. You've recently seen her new book, I Love Strawberries, on Ryan Reynolds' popular bedtime story series, Bedtime Stories with Ryan. She's been featured on the Today Shows. She's been featured in Good Morning America. She's been featured in USA Today. Everly Cade, one of the top children's authors that communicates to kids about death and grief and loss. She's an award-winning and best-selling children's author. She's going to be a part of the panel, and one of our newest favorites here at PR from the Heart. She really personifies what Sweet Home Alabama is all about. Durenda Doyle, award-winning children's author, and the creator of the Kid and the Dog series will all be joining myself and many of us out here in San Diego. We encourage all of you to, again, stay connected. You can reserve your tickets for this event, as there is limited seating, so you can get your tickets now so that you have the opportunities to guarantee your seat by heading on over again to our official website, the homepage of prfromtheheart.com. A portion of the proceeds from sales will be benefiting Words Alive, which is one of the top children's literacy non-for-profit organizations in San Diego. They do absolutely amazing work in the process. We're going to be having a wonderful story time. We're going to be having a panel discussion. We're going to be having an interactive Q&A. And of course, to conclude the event, we're going to be having a book signing as well, too. So that is to come. And of course, all of the Children's Book Spotlight Series episodes throughout the holiday season, we're already looking ahead to 2024. If you are a children's author or middle grade author and you would like to share your brand new children's book here on the Children's Book Spotlight Series, and to share your inspiring story in the process, you can head on over to our official website, prfromtheheart.com, or you can connect with us via any of our social media platforms that you now see on screen. Facebook and Instagram, both at PR From The Heart, as we like to refer to it as the artist formerly known as Twitter. The legendary musician Prince had a chapter of his life where he referred to himself as the artist formerly known as Prince. Well, this is the artist formerly known as Twitter. So Facebook, Instagram, X/Twitter, all at PR From The Heart. We're also super excited as well, too, because we have one more in-studio episode that is going to be premiering with the opportunities to recently spend some quality time with one of our favorite neighbors. You remember him, you love him as the beloved Mr. McFeely on the popular long-running children's television program, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. We know him and we love him as David Newell. So we, of course, will be sharing what it is that we had the opportunities to record not that long ago with our friends and neighbors at the Center for Media Innovation in downtown Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So we're going to be premiering that episode very shortly at the very beginning of November. And then, of course, we have our special holiday season celebration of the Neighborly Reviews bookcast in the month of December. But if you are a children's author and would like for David Newell and I to deliver a heartfelt review of your brand new children's book on a forthcoming edition of the Neighborly Reviews bookcast in 2024, you know where to connect with us via our official website, prfromtheheart.com, or any of our social media platforms. And as well, many children's authors' dreams will be taking flight in 2024 in this brand new year that lies ahead. And we would love to be able to help those dreams take flight and then some. So if you are interested in learning more about PR From The Heart and how we can be of service to you, whether it be to create a book media tour in a city of your choosing, whether it be to create a national book tour, or just for more information, just in general about this wonderful mission that we're very blessed to be a part of here at PR From The Heart, you can connect with us via our official website, prfromtheheart.com, schedule your courtesy connection call, and let us see how we can be of service to you. 2024 is going to be a banner year as we are approaching our 10-year anniversary. One final time, again, you can head on over to Amazon.com. You can also head on over to Mupsy.com. Purchase your copy of He Loves Me, He Truly Loves Me, the story of Mupsy and me and how we came to be. It is now available. One of the many ways, that's right, Little Forston, I have not forgotten about one thing specifically. One of the many ways that you can pledge your support for Devon and from Upsy is to leave a 5-star review on Amazon, letting them know that they are doing wonderful and much needed work for children, parents, families, educators, and those who love great children's books. And again, if you remember the beloved, in certain respects, well, they might not necessarily have been beloved, but they were truly a treasured team. When movies came out in the 80s and 90s, remember Siskel and Ebert, and they gave the endorsement of the 2 thumbs up, if you remember that. Well, when there's a brand new children's book that Little Forrest loves, he gives 2 paws up. And so Little Forrest has given his sign of approval, his paw print on He Loves Me, He Truly Loves Me, the story of Mupsy and me and how we came to be. So again, we encourage all of you to be able to enjoy this wonderful story even more than what you've already joined Devon and myself today in the process. We want to thank all of you for your continued support of PR from the Heart, for your continued support of the Children's Book Spotlight series, for your continued support of children's authors and illustrators such as Devon Michael Sangiovanni and many more who are doing wonderful and much needed work for children, parents, families, educators, and those who love great children's books, for the pillars of our community, local libraries and children's and independent bookstores. But above all else, we want to thank you for helping us to walk home the children of the world. One final time, we feel his presence quite so. And it's very important that we mention this because, Mr. Rogers, even though he's, long since been not with us for the past 20 years or so, he encouraged us, whether it be through his time on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, whether it be through college talks, commencement speeches, he really encouraged us to remember that we're loved, to remember that we're special. And in many respects, he actually did this through his own private numerology. 143. Somehow Mr. Rogers weighed nearly 143 pounds for his entire natural adult life. There's 1 letter in I, 4 letters in love, and 3 letters in you. And that is our reminder. That was his reminder. And as we like to give a little tip of the cap to Mr. Rogers, we like to remember our 3 favorite numbers inspired by Devon joining us here this week of 243. There's 2 letters in we, 4 letters in love, 3 letters in you. That is our reminder to you of your inherent worth and your inherent value, that you are loved, that you are special, that you are whole, that you are healthy, that you are complete, that we like you, that we love you just the way that you are. Devon, before we conclude in the process, one thing that I forgot to mention is we always have a little segment here, a little tip of the cap to one of our favorite Disney animated classics we remember. And this is really inspired by the fact that we have the abilities to bring to form, to shape our dreams, our desires, our goals, our ambitions. We have the opportunities to fulfill our wishes and help others that come across our path to fulfill theirs. So we have a little segment. It's slightly out of order, but we have a little genie lamp here at the PR from the Heart Studios. And this is our little segment that we're going to close out officially the program with, called 3 Wishes. We've really shared a lot on this beautiful episode of the program. What would be the wishes that you would like to share for everyone out there? As we close out the 5-year anniversary celebration of the Children's Book Spotlight series, we turn the page to the holiday season celebration at PR from the Heart. What is the 3 wishes that you would like to be able to put out there for everyone that's tuning in?
I wish that they could all find the happiness that I was so blessed with, to share all that love that was so generously given to me all these years. And that one little animal or a few little animals can give to a child. Also that they would find themselves, and be able to ask for what they needed and to be taught that they deserve and that they're loved, and that they could love in return. It's a special gift to be able to love, because not everybody can love, but if they feel loved, they will in turn be able to love. So if they could experience those 3 things, it's still all about the love.
That's true.
It's all about the love. No matter which way I turn it, that's my phrase. It's all about the love, and it starts loving themselves.
I do want to say this, Devon, since you've been very kind, not only with our time here today, but in terms of sharing your message with children, parents, and families around the world, I really believe that there is a miracle or a series of miracles that are headed your way, because you've given freely of yourself for a long period of time. And I really believe that now is your time to be able to receive. And we hope that you know that it is your time to receive as well, too. So for Devon Michael Sangiovanni, for myself, John Massalonis, for Little Forrest, who's completed chewing his chewy, that's why he was a little chirper towards the end of our program, we want to again thank all of you for spending some quality time with us here in our neighborhood. Thank you for your support, especially over the course of these past 2 months, as we proudly have celebrated the 5-year anniversary celebration of the Children's Book Spotlight Series. We look forward to many more trolley stops, beginning with our holiday season celebration for the month of November and December. So again, for Little Forrest, for Devon Michael Sangiovanni, for myself, John Massalonis, thank you for helping us to walk home the children of the world, our fellow friends, fellow neighbors, and our fellow shining stars.
And have them join us. Have them join us on social media at the Mupsy series.
And yes, by the way, as we're concluding our time, also stay connected with Devon on social media as well too. So we want to thank you for bringing that to our attention. So now again, we want to thank you once again for helping us to walk home the children of the world. Now it's time for the big finish, everyone.